Someone gave him a mic and no adult supervision. This is the Joevelocity Show.
And welcome to the Joevelocity Show. I'm Joe, and I am here with my guest this week, Hubba.
Hey.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. A lot of good stories here today, so let's go ahead here and let's get this started.
Right.
So, story number 1. Am I the asshole for asking my brother to stop doing magic tricks at every family event? So here's the story. I, 27 female, have a younger brother, 24 male, who really got into magic during the pandemic. At first, it was kind of cool. He learned card tricks, sleight of hand stuff, and even a few coin illusions. We were all supportive in part because he was stuck at home and needed a hobby. Thing is, he still brings it everywhere to this day. Every dinner, every birthday, holiday, cookout, he pulls out a deck of cards. It's like he needs to perform and he gets noticeably sulky if no one's paying attention. The breaking point was at our dad's retirement dinner last weekend. It was just family and a few of his coworkers at a nice restaurant. My dad was making a short speech when my brother pulled out a deck of cards and tried to segue into a quick trick to honor the man of the hour. No one asked for this. My dad awkwardly laughed and said, "Maybe later, buddy," and tried to continue. But my brother still went around the table afterwards doing his routines like it was expected. Later that night, I pulled him aside and said, paraphrasing, maybe just check the vibe before launching into a show. People came to celebrate Dad, not for a magic show. He got defensive immediately and accused me of being jealous and unsupportive, saying I never wanted to see him succeed. Now my parents are involved. They said I should just let him have his moment and that he's just passionate. But it's not one moment. It's every single time. So am I the asshole?
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. At the end of the day, he got to learn he got to really read the room. And that's his problem. Like, at the end of the day, and it's okay to get constructive criticism sometimes. It wasn't her like being jealous. It wasn't her being mean. It wasn't her being vindictive. None of that. It was just her just trying to be like, look, just read the room sometimes. This was about Dad. This wasn't about you.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. I can imagine him at a funeral, It's like, dearly departed. Hey, guess a card. Which card is this?
Everybody crying and he up there pulling out a deck of cards. Go sit down.
So anyways, I think the comments agreed with you and me here. Yeah. So they said, succeed? Like what? He thinks this is his career?
I mean, it could be if you're really good at it.
Yeah.
And there's a couple people on TikTok that does magic that is really good and that trips people out. But they're professionals and they're really good at what they do. And it's just like, okay, we get the fact that you want to practice like all the time and get good at what you do. But if you keep on doing it when it's just not a right timing, people are going to get real tired of it quickly.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just going to ruin everything about it's just going to ruin his dreams in a way to me. You know?
I think it's going to be one of those points, somebody that's going to eventually have had enough with his shenanigans and be like, you know what? Nope.
Exactly. Somebody gonna slap him someday.
Exactly. Yeah. Another commenter said, "Nope. This is more about your brother's ego and getting attention when the focus was supposed to be on his dad. Your dad's celebration was about launching his career as a magician." And they went on to say, "I have secondhand embarrassment for him."
Yeah, because it's just like it's just too much. He's too focused on himself. When sometimes he got to learn to like put himself to the side and focus on what's in front of him, and that was his father.
However, somebody else came up with a really good idea in the comments. Suggests he volunteer at elder homes.
Yes.
And then somebody else responded this. Then he literally has a captive audience that cannot escape if the wheelchair locks are on.
You know what?
Or he could do a couple of kids shows before hanging up his rabbit-producing top hat and cape. Kids are absolutely brutal. They would take him down a peg or two and tell him what they think of his act.
Yeah, but at the same time, kids are easily entertained too. Don't forget I used to work with kids for years.
Oh, wow.
So kids can easily get entertained.
What did you do?
Well, I used to work at the Boys and Girls Club. I worked
Okay.
at the Boys and Girls Club for about almost 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And then I worked at a daycare for a couple years
Okay.
while I was working at the Boys and Girls Club. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I've helped out with my nieces and nephews and things like that as they grew up and stuff. But when you work in a daycare, you know, like you deal with infants, toddlers,
Yeah.
pre-K. So each is different. You know what I mean? Like when you're dealing with
Right.
toddlers, you know, you're dealing with them still trying to learn how to walk somewhat and
Yeah.
them still trying to learn how to speak. Things
So
like
you
that.
can change a diaper, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's infants. You know, infants, you got to learn how to coddle them and
Yeah.
know when it's a good time to feed them. And they
Okay.
cry a lot. Oh, Lord. You know, and pre-K, they're at a point where, you know, they're speaking well.
Yeah.
They're absorbing everything. Like they're
Right.
learning everything. And they don't miss a beat. You know, so
They're very observant,
yes, yes.
right? Another person said, I dig how letting him have his moment was only a thing when you said something. Your own dad was like, not now, son. A grown-up was talking.
Right, right.
And like another one said there, I'd let this go through. It sounds like your brother is ruining it for himself and continue to blunder around, obliviously ignoring the glazed eyes and the vague mutterings about needing a restroom or leaving early. Hey, Aunt Kay, pick a card. I think I left the oven on, but you're visiting from out of town. I'm so positive I did. But Aunt Kay, you're staying at the Hilton Suites. They don't even have ovens. Oh my God, I think I smell something burning from here. And she flees.
That was a good one.
Right?
Oh, I think I smell it from here.
It's like, just give me an excuse to get out of here.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Man, oh man. But anyways, we're going to go ahead here and move on to the second story.
right.
Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my friend's no phones dinner after what happened last time?
No.
My friend hosts these no phones dinner once a month. It's her thing. Everyone drops their phone in a basket and just vibes. I respect it, even if I find it a bit much. I've gone to a few and it was fine. The problem is, last time I went, my sister had an emergency and couldn't reach me for hours. She was dealing with a situation involving our mom, who was taken to the hospital. She had no one else to call. I didn't see any of it until dinner was over. 3 hours later, I left feeling like crap. Now this month, my friend invited me again. I said I'd come, but I was keeping my phone on me in case something happened. She got weirdly defensive, saying it defeated the purpose and that everyone needed to be fully present or not come at all. So I said, okay, I won't come. Now she's mad and calling me inflexible, saying it's just one night and I'm being dramatic. But I'm not putting myself in that situation again. Am I the asshole for skipping it over this?
I'm kind of in the middle with that because I get the point that she wants. I get the point that she doesn't want no phones there. That's the point of the party. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, can you at least like let people have a watch on or something? You know, because nowadays we have these watches and things like that. Can we at least have that just in case of emergency? People have kids. People have families. People
That
have
is a
lives.
good point. Yeah,
You know?
because I realize there could be something else you could be wearing that you could still get those notifications.
Right.
But not be attached to your phone, which I think is what she's trying to avoid there.
Right. Like, or at least let some people have a ringer on. Like an emergency ringer or something to where, like, okay, they can go check and see who it is. And if it ain't important, they can just let it go. You know what I mean?
Like, put your phone on Do Not Disturb.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
so that way
exactly.
still important people can get through.
Right.
Because there's settings that you can use to override it for certain people.
Right, exactly.
Or if they call multiple times.
But in a way, I can understand her not going because it's just like you're not trying to be understandable in what I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
And I understand that's the point of the party, but what if something happens again?
Yeah.
You know, so I can understand that, but I'm in the middle with this. I'm not going.
Apparently, a lot of people were also in the middle with this there too.
Right.
So you're not that far off, and I agree there too.
Right.
One of the comments said, "Not the asshole, all about everyone putting their phones on Do Not Disturb." For example, the numbers listed for emergencies will be able to get through. Somebody else said, "This shit always bugs me. Folks are not children that need to be managed. You should simply say the purpose is to be fully present. Please don't use your phone. You should all be adults enough to leave it in your pocket. And then when someone keeps calling you, you can say, excuse me, let me make sure this is an emergency and look, like a grown adult. But here's the thing. Some member commenters were kind of like, this is not necessarily a bad idea because one of them said, no, I spent a weekend with someone who was basically on our phone the whole entire time. Couldn't even listen. It's a trip I would like to avoid repeating. And the last commenter said, I'm dating someone like this and it's frustrating. We were in a really cool place watching a sunset. I was trying to work up the courage to tell him I love him for the first time, but he kept focusing on his phone. Then he insisted I look through his Snapchat memories or whatever else with him, and a picture of him cuddling with his ex popped up, so it really killed the vibe even more. I haven't even said it. He actually seems to think it's suspicious that I put my phone down when he starts talking to me. So it's kind of like, she's being courteous and everything there and not being on her phone constantly there, and he's not getting the hint.
Now,
basically.
that's the asshole.
Yeah.
That's the asshole.
But
okay.
I think we all know people like that, though.
Oh,
that they're
yeah.
like literally, that's all they can do,
Yeah.
is sit there and be on their phone the whole entire time and not be present in the whole entire moment. Also, too, what also reminds me of this as well is that, like at concerts, for example, people will always be literally sitting there recording everything.
Mm-hmm. That's annoying to me.
So
that's like you're not actually enjoying a concert.
Yeah. I guess you're taking a few pictures here and there. That's fine. But if you're sitting there recording the whole entire damn thing to put it up on Snapchat later for, people like me to watch you, juggle your phone and watch, you sit in the, peanut heaven, which is like the last rows in the stadium, which are so high up. It's like, the actual artist is like a small little blip.
Right.
It's like, what's the purpose of that?
What's the point? You're just there to videotape. You're not even there to enjoy the concert.
Right. Live in the moment,
Right.
Don't be like, I need to record this for posterity because I'll be honest. I mean, I recorded the New Kids on the Block concert I went to when I was down in Atlanta last year. And do I watch it at all? Nah.
No. You don't go back and watch these things.
Yeah.
You just literally upload it onto Facebook or TikTok, whatever you're on, and that's about it. And then it's like, okay, I get that you want to keep memories, but you can't keep that memory in your head. Like, seriously, you can't keep that memory in your head and just sit there and enjoy the concert.
Exactly.
But look, this is me here. I do, there's times I do be on my phone.
Yeah.
I will say that. But at the same time, it's like when somebody sit up there and tell me, hey, like, I'm trying to talk to you and tell you something. Have some respect, like, oh, I'm so sorry, and put the phone down and let it be. Learn to, like, have some respect for other people when they feel some kind of way about you being on the phone and they're trying to tell you something. Have some compassion. That's the problem with this generation. Yeah. People lack that nowadays.
Right.
Man,
oh man. Yeah, some people will never learn, and
never, nothing.
We're the old boomers, yeah, right.
I'm in my 30s now, so I'm a 90s baby,
and I'm in my late 40s, so
I'm a 90s baby.
For me, it's now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So believe it or not, we are halfway through the show. So we're going to go ahead and take a break. And we will be right back with more stories as the Joevelocity Show continues.
You could listen to a station that plays the same 6 songs on repeat. Or you could try Joevelocity FM, the home of rock, pop, alternative, and new wave, curated by someone who doesn't hate you. No talk radio, no wacky morning crew, just non-stop music and unapologetic attitude. We're Joevelocity FM, always in motion, like your caffeine withdrawal, but way more fun. Click, stream, regret nothing. JoeVelocityFM.com.
If ensuring speed and security for your sites is really a top priority for you, then search no further than Voxonix's shared website hosting plans. They use SSD-powered servers and provide numerous site acceleration tools that make your websites load noticeably faster. Additionally, they deploy ZFS data storage to shield your website contents from corruption. Also, they will manage the task of migrating all the websites you need to their system, absolutely free of cost. Get started now by going to voxonix.com. That's VOXONX.com.
Welcome back to the Joevelocity Show. You're dancing along to the music, aren't you? Huh?
I like it.
We're going to go ahead here and get into the third story here. Am I the asshole if I asked my wife to stop doing this weird role play? So recently my laptop broke, and while I was waiting for it to be fixed, I needed to use my wife's laptop. This had never been a problem before. This time, however, I noticed that she was logged into Facebook, which is strange in itself because she claimed she didn't have an account there, but under a different male name and surname. I admit it intrigued me, and I looked there. I had no idea what the profile belongs to, but basically the entire profile was dedicated to volleyball. The man was a former player who had to retire from the game after an injury, but still shared information about it. He also came from a small town, which, when I Googled it, is actually a small village in Germany. He also had a wife and 2 children, whose profiles I also found, which ultimately led me down the rabbit hole. All these people came from the same place. Some had real photos, sometimes disturbingly candid-looking ones. Others had anime profiles. Others had gaming profiles, and so on. Each profile had a theme. Some shared links to Reddit, Twitter, etc. Some were still active. The man whose profile I was using belonged to a group that included other strange accounts. One of these groups that popped up most often was for conspiracy theorists. I also saw his messages, and they looked like those of a real person. They went on for months, sometimes with photos, and so on. I didn't understand what I was looking at. My wife was still at the store, so I closed Facebook, went to her laptop. I know. I found a ton of folders labeled with names, photos, a timeline, and future plans for this character. Even things like change in views, change profile picture, marriage, TikTok controversy were included. When my wife came back, I asked her about it right away. I didn't have a theory about it. I was just confused. It all seemed so real. My wife brushed me off, not seeming bothered by it at all. She said it was her role play for fun. But since then, I can't stop thinking about it. There were over 100 of these folders, over 100 characters who interact with each other, even though they were all my wife. This really strikes me as strange. And from now on, every time I look at my wife, I just think about it. I want to ask her to stop doing this, but I don't know if I'm allowed to. I mean, technically, she doesn't do anything super bad, and I don't think she interacts with real people, but still, it's disturbing for me. Wowee. So she's not cheating, technically, so we know that much.
Cheating.
Yeah.
She's not sitting up there talking sexual or anything.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's looking for anything sexual. I just think that it's just something fun for her to do. Is she a housewife, or does she work, or I wish we knew a little more details as far as that. But at the same time, this is like a little hobby she has. And it's like, let her have it. Yeah.
I think the commenters actually kind of maybe fill in the missing blanks here. Mm-hmm. So let me read some of those here, and we'll see what you think here.
Right.
One of them said, technically she doesn't have Facebook. She controls accounts, but none are her. Very thin reasoning, but if someone searches for her, she is not there. So not exactly a lie. The second one goes on, and this is probably the one that will clear it up even more for you. Really, I'm an author. What she is doing is an elaborate way of doing what we do. Character creation. When I write, I need characters. So I create them. Histories, locations, schools, hobby, all of it. I need characters with backgrounds. Their backgrounds determine how they react in situations. Without that, you get what are called shallow characters. While I never really used Facebook for this, it sounds like a good idea depending on the storyline. And then somebody responded to that and said, I was going to say exactly this. I'm also an author, and I've even seen it be suggested to create imaginary social media to help flesh out characters. I never took that literally as in creating actual accounts, but it's honestly a really simple way to maintain character details and continuity, and to get into the headspace of the character when it's time to write them. I don't know, creative people have outlets, and don't see this as being harmful unless you're using it to scam people, or have affairs, or something equally nefarious. And you asking about them, it likely has her feeling both embarrassed that you came across her social media characters, studies, fan fiction, but also upset that you invaded her privacy. I think you need to come to your wife with a much more open mind.
Absolutely. That's the comment I like right there, because he's so this is a different comment from
From somebody else who was responding to the Reddit post.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like, she's, to me, maybe you should look into your wife doing something like that, actually being an author, like actually giving authors ideas. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, is she writing something there? Is she, what is she doing with this exactly there? And I think
exactly. But to me, it's her hobby. And to me, it just seems like he was just looking for something to bother him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it looked like to me, because
well, I also think he was also very confused by this here, so he just needed some clarification, but I don't think she helped.
yeah, she definitely didn't help this at all. She kind of left him like clueless onto what the hell she's really doing.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's something she likes to do. She's not doing nothing illegal. She's not out here having sex. She's not out here harming people. She's up her enjoying. She's up her having a little hobby that she enjoys. I say let her have it.
Yeah. The comments get more interesting, actually.
Right.
Next one goes on to say they have fake social media generators that exist. Fanfic authors use them all the time to make social media epistolary fix.
Mm-hmm.
There's zero reason to create the real accounts to do this. That's why it's weird and shady. So this commenter doesn't really agree with us here.
Mm-hmm.
And they went on to edit it to make it very clear. It did not mean ChatGPT or generative AI. I mean websites you can use to create fake social media posts using the text you input into the generator that formats them to look like whatever website you want, coding and assets. They've been available for well over a decade, and they are not generative AI. And then the last person goes, I am literally an author. It is my job. I've traditionally published 2 books. I would deadass never use any type of AI ridiculous generators to create any part of my stories. Some people do, and yay for them. Most of us don't. In fact, most writers are horrified that people would even suggest such a thing. So, I mean, the responses to this there seem very mixed there. It's kind of like, I think I agree with you, though. It's kind of like, she's not causing any harm to him. So,
No.
it's just kind of like, I think, if anything, that one commenter was like, you need to come with this more open mind. It's kind of like, I think that's really what he needs to do. He needs to go to her and be like, hey, why are you doing this here? I'm just kind of curious. I don't care, and I think it's kind of cool,
right,
that you're creating this backstory, but what's the purpose of this here? Because I think it's really one of those cases there where we don't know what she's doing with it.
Right. And it's just telling her, it's just thinking that she needs to stop doing it and telling her that she needs to stop doing it.
Yeah.
That's the part that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, to me, that's just not cool to me. I don't like that. Now, have an actual sit down discussion about it with her, and she should actually, let him know what she's doing and what's the purpose of it. You know what I mean? Just to get an understanding, because at the end of the day, that is your other half. It's like, come on now,
Okay, so anyways, we're going to go ahead and move on to the last story, which is our moment of conclusion. So you thought these stories were wild. Just wait. I just found out my fiance's been selling my panties behind my back. This goes on for a while, so sit down and settle in, because we're in for a ride here. We've been engaged for 4 months and dating for 2 years. We decided to move in together after 3 months, and everything has been going wonderfully. Throughout the last 3 months, I've noticed my underwear going missing every now and then. I thought nothing of it because I probably have like 50 pairs, and I usually keep a pair or 2 in different bags, purses in case of monthly accidents. So sometimes I would be looking for the red lace thong, but can't find it, and so I assume it's in a purse or a bag. Or that was my reasoning. This morning, I was looking for the matching panties to a bra that I was wearing. I looked all over and could not find them. I asked my fiancé to check the dryer in case they were in there. He chuckled and said he had sold them. Oh, God. I assumed he was kidding and laughed and asked him to look for me. He then goes, babe, I'm serious. I could not believe what I was hearing. I was beyond upset and hurt. I pressed him for details, and he said he's been selling my worn panties to random people from Craigslist. I packed the bag and went to my sister's house for the night. I feel sick to my stomach about this. We aren't even broke or strapped for cash. His reasoning was that he wanted to make extra money to get me a nice wedding band. I need advice about this. What should I do? I'm at a loss right now.
Come on.
So you don't think he's the asshole then? Or
Oh, he definitely is. He definitely is, because for the simple fact that, like, I mean, I respect the fact that he was honest about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's the way, like, the timing of it. It was just like he should have asked her for that.
Right.
He should have asked her to do that, but I guess he wanted it to be a surprise.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, come on now, that falls under sexual, you know.
The commenters agree with you there. It's like, why did he even think to ask your opinion before this here? Oh, that's right, because it's fucking creepy.
Yes.
And knew to cross the line with you. Don't let him try to justify his actions. Even putting aside the grossness of this, he's still stealing your belongings and selling them without your permission, let alone those belongings with your bodily fluid on them.
Yes. Yeah, he was dead wrong for that. Oh.
And then another person went, I know you have a long history with him, but if he's kept something like this a secret with absolutely no hint of remorse when confronted, and just everything about this says to me he's just a weirdo. He doesn't respect boundaries and has no problem keeping awful secrets from you. I don't think I'd ever be able to trust someone who'd done that. Break up with him entirely. Yeah, it's just kind of like, this behavior is just kind of like, you know, I'm going to sell him. And, you know, I mean, it's like he wasn't even like, you know, trying to hide the fact. He's just like, no, I sold him on Craigslist, you know?
I like I said, I respect the fact that he was honest about it. He told her about it, but this was very creepish. Like, this was creepy as hell, you know? And just for him to do that behind her back, it's just,
right.
Like, it's just betrayal.
Well, guess what? It gets worse. There's an update.
Lord.
So the poster says, first and foremost, thanks to everyone's thoughtful advice and feedback, I went back to my place with my sister. Was at work. I packed up a majority of my things and brought him back to my sister's place. Once he got off work, I phoned him. I felt this was the easiest method of communication and told him exactly what he had done. Here are the main key points. He's been selling my used panties for the last 3 months. In addition to this, he has also posted semi-nude, sexually suggested pictures of myself that I sent him. He had sold the underwear that I had on in the pictures. He said he only posted the pictures to the buyer to prove them that it was really me. He said he told buyers I was 100% consenting. He pretended to be me in the emails. And when he met up in person to sell them, he would tell men that I was too afraid of coming on my own and asked him to go deliver them. He sold about 20 pairs of underwear. I have a lot of underwear and frequently purchase new pairs. This is why I didn't really know such a huge amount going missing, especially since I usually keep a few pairs in gym bags, etc. He admitted to having made $900 through this. He said he sells them for about $40 a pair, give or take. He initially told me he wanted a bit of extra cash in order to customize my wedding band. When I pressed him on, he admitted he got a bit of a thrill by selling my panties and knowing other men found me sexually attractive, got aroused by my underwear. He apologized profusely and tried to compare it to selling my used designer shoes or purse. I completely disagree with this because there is a sexual motivation for these things. I feel sexually exploited and taken advantage of.
Yes.
I decided to break off the engagement and I'm done with this relationship. This entire incident took me by surprise and I never suspected that he would do something like this. I will hopefully break the news to my family this weekend with the support of my sister. He's still trying to convince me to go to couples therapy with him. He wants to savage our relationship, but I'm honestly done with him at this point.
Yeah, that's done. That's out the door. I even take that shit back with the I respect. Nah, fuck that. I don't respect that at all. He can kiss my ass. He is a creep.
He wants to go to couples therapy. It's like, for what? You and your shitty attitude?
Yeah, couples therapy.
Yeah.
No, you need therapy.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that next relationship you get into, because you're not going to be with me for one at all. So the next relationship you get into, you just don't do nothing like that at all.
Right.
You should know boundary, have respect for people's boundaries.
Exactly.
And he has none whatsoever.
But hey,
Sick
it's money.
bastard. I'm just sick.
So the comments said, You're not being overdramatic. You're being recklessly outraged by the fact that your ex, you were so awesome for breaking up with him, by the way, sexually exploited you, non-consensually, for profit. He is lower than scum. Scum doesn't deserve the comparison. He's a filthy human being. I sincerely hope you press charges because that's so incredibly gross.
Wow, that was... I'm clapping to that comment, period.
Right.
No, he deserves to get press charges on. Because at the end of the day, you did that behind her back.
Right.
You are a sick individual.
Yeah,
and
you need help, and I'm glad.
Serious help.
I'm glad she broke up with him.
You know, you need serious help. You need a serious lesson, and that you're going to go on the sexual offenders list.
Yeah,
off top. You goodbye.
Right. Exactly.
Goodbye.
Well, with that said, that was quite the memo conclusion, and that's going to bring us to the end of this show here. So. Thanks for checking out the Joevelocity Show. Make sure to subscribe to us in your favorite podcast app so you don't miss an episode. The episodes drop every Monday. For access to all of our websites, visit us at joevelocity.com.
Stay away from creeps.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.